Floridians brace for impact as Hurricane Adalia gets ready to make landfall. Let's discuss. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another Coffee Rant with Dano. Today, we are drinking the Tim Hortons coffee. It's okay. It's not the best. Not my favorite, but it's okay. If you have to hit pause to get your coffee or favorite beverage together, this is going to be a lengthy discussion. So, let's get into it. We have Hurricane Adalia, however you like to say it. It is another I hurricane. Seems like I hurricanes are the worst. I'm going to go into later on in this video why I don't like I hurricanes at all. I was driving through one, pretty much. We waited until it kind of broke up. But we're going to go into a few things. I know we have a lot of Floridian fans on the channel here. I hope you all are safe. Me and Jessica are keeping you all in our thoughts and prayers. Looks like it's hitting like that western Gulf part of Florida, and it's not just going to affect Florida. It's looking more and more like it's going to affect South Carolina and Georgia as well. So everybody in Georgia and South Carolina, be prepared as well. This video is going to come out this afternoon. I know the hurricane is supposed to make landfall tomorrow morning, but it's looking like it is building up. Some are saying on the Weather Channel that it could hit as a Category 3. So make sure you are prepared. Make sure you are safe. Be in a safe area. Have your phone charged or your tablet charged. Make sure you have those if you don't have them already. I don't know. I'm sure stores are selling out of a lot of stuff. We've been hearing a lot of areas around Tampa and north of Tampa. A lot of grocery stores are selling out of bread and water. So hopefully you are prepared. I know Floridians prepare better than probably most of the country. I know a lot of viewers on the channel here who always have a huge supply of water all the time. Good, always good to do the sandbag thing around your home. And from what I understand, communities get together and then they start working together on these things, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, we firsthand had driven through Hurricane Irma. And I got to tell you, that was no joke. Now, that was a much larger hurricane. Here's Florida on the map. Here was Irma. I mean, and we waited until we live in Cincinnati and we drive to Florida usually this time every year because we save a lot of money because it is hurricane season. And that is why you save a lot of money, because you do risk going through or being in a hurricane. I will say, that was the worst drive of my life. I'll say that toward the end of the video here. Some of you probably already know the story that we went through, but I'll go into that here in a little bit. I'm going to be putting this video out here in just a few hours because I want to get this out by this afternoon so that you have some to be able to talk to. Anything that we discussed tonight, any kind of comments that you can leave for some fellow Floridians, if people would like to leave their comments to keep all of you in their thoughts and prayers. I want everybody to have the opportunity to be able to do that before this video or before the hurricane gets here. So I wanted to race in the clock here to try and get this out as fast as I can, but wanted to have a little bit of a discussion about this because, I will say one thing, the Weather Channel, boy, it's so hard to watch the Weather Channel, and we're always watching it really hard this time of year because we're supposed to go to Florida here in just a couple days. We're probably going to postpone that for a couple extra days and wait until everything blows over. We don't know, if a lot of people have evacuated. That was our issue when we were driving down through Florida during Hurricane Irma, was everybody was trying to get back into Florida after the hurricane had already run through, and that was the real issue. Couldn't get gas, couldn't find a hotel. Traffic was gridlocked. It was absolutely crazy. But just hope, if by the time this comes out, if you're not prepared, make sure that, make sure you have what you need. Try and get what you need. If not, try and seek a storm shelter. Get to safety. It's looking like it's going to be, from what I've seen on the map and how it seems to be going, it's looking like it could affect Tampa, but it's looking like it's kind of hitting that bank edge of Tampa and north of there. So we'll just have to see. It's a Category 1 right now as of noon on Tuesday. Okay, so they're saying it's supposed to make landfall tomorrow, Wednesday at 9 a.m. So, but I'll tell you what, make any last preparations that you have. We never know. They say it could land as a Category 3. my opinion, a hurricane's a hurricane. Make sure you prepare for it accordingly. If and I kind of feel silly sort of talking to people in Florida who live in Florida how to prepare, because, like I said, I know you guys all know how to prepare for these things, boarding up your windows, stuff like that. Make sure you have some food to get by for a few days. Any kind of power supplies that you can think you could buy, like maybe go to Walmart and get one of those little power blocks. Make sure that is charged up so that in case you lose power, you'll be able to use your phone and watch Adventures with Dano. No, I'm just kidding. But, be able to just watch TV or watch YouTube or something. It's because if you run out of power, obviously you won't be able to watch TV. Provide yourself with a little entertainment to help pass the time along. One of our longtime viewers said she was so happy she was able to get donuts. She says that when she's in a hurricane down in Florida, that's the one thing she has to have. And I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? If that's like a good luck thing or something, like if that's what you eat every time you have a hurricane, I'm all for it. Like if we had storms like that, I'm sure I would have my little thing that I have to have too. But I understand at the time that this video is coming out is a little crucial. I don't know if you're wanting to hunker down at this time, but if not, time to make some of these last minute preparations. And I just kind of wanted to throw out some things that if I was in this, of what I would do. Make sure you have your batteries and your lights and everything handy. If you have enough, I would put, some flashlights maybe in your living room. Just have them handy in case you, and if you have enough, put one in each room. That way, if you have to rush to get to another room, where you have your other flashlights. Good idea to have a couple of them. Also good idea to maybe always stay away from the windows, obviously. I feel like that was one thing I was going to discuss tonight, but I think that's kind of a no-brainer. But in case you forget, maybe move a couple chairs in the center of the room, or maybe like how you would prepare for like a tornado, like under like a doorway here or something, anything that you can do to be safe, especially the closer you are to the Gulf, the more of an impact I feel like this is going to have. And like I said, like if here's Florida right here, okay, and here's like Alabama right here, it's looking like it's just going to go and then just crack through like the split of where Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina are, and it's looking like it's just going to blow right through that part of the country. So, if you're in those areas, I would definitely be careful. And again, like things that I think of is, most people who live in Florida, I assume, know how to protect themselves and know how to prepare for something like this. So, just get a book. Something to help pass the time along. I know some of the winds and everything get crazy, but always be mindful and always pay attention of everything going on. And again, it's from someone who's from Cincinnati, Ohio. I feel like we do have family that live in Florida, though. And I've talked to our uncles and aunts and everybody who have lived through these storms their whole lives. They tell us what they do. So I have a little bit of information on how some, and a couple of them live in Sarasota. They live all over Florida. They do both coasts and different things. So I've heard a lot of different, some good stories and some not so good stories. But at this point now, I just wanted to kind of go through that. I think the whole flashlight thing, that is like the first thing that would come to my mind. Don't know if I would use candles because there's going to be a lot of wind. Wind's going to be blowing. If something happens and it blows over, you don't want to risk fire and stuff like that. And that might just be me with my overly safety mind here. But at the same time, you just want to think of all these things and be safe. Have your cooler ready. Have a cooler full of ice ready to go. And keep it in your fridge until the last possible minute, right? Like if it starts getting bad, make sure that ice is frozen. Have the foods that you're wanting to, preserve and make sure they stay fresh and everything, maybe have a couple, everything, as long as you can keep it in the fridge, keep it in there. But what I'm saying is that if power does go out and it's an extended period of time, you may want to start putting some of the stuff from your fridge into your cooler. Good idea to have that. And again, like if power goes out or something like that, if you have like a little propane tank stove or something, make sure that's in a safe place until after the storm. But yeah, just a couple little ideas that kind of came to my mind here, to kind of think about that if I was in it, that's what I would do. Check, make sure your animals are safe, make sure they're not outside, Make sure you have dog food, cat food, whatever, fish food, whatever animals you have. And that's another thing too. If you have fish, you may want to like try to maybe secure the tank or something in a way, like if you have it in a particular spot that maybe is close to a window, it's going to get a lot of wind, stuff like that. But I've heard from a lot of Floridians that you can prepare only so much. And, it's just after Ian last year, I know Ian was terrible. Now, hopefully, knock on wood, that this one isn't that bad. But okay, since we're going into the I's here, this is what I meant by the I's hurricane, the letter I, not the eye of the hurricane. Jessica was talking about this yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? The worst storms that I've seen in Florida have begun with the letter I. The one that we dealt with was Hurricane Irma. Guys, I gotta say, that was a nightmare for Florida. Ian was a nightmare for Florida last year, but I'll tell you what, Irma I saw firsthand. We waited an extra day. We canceled one of our days heading down to Florida, and we were like, we saw that Irma, by the time we left Cincinnati, Ohio, Irma had spread into southern Tennessee. To give you an idea how big that was. But obviously not a hurricane at that point. It was just, lots and lots of rain. It rained pretty much the entire drive down there, and I am still suffering from that headache. No, just kidding. The headache came about 4 or 5 hours later, which was the biggest nightmare I've ever had in my life. Guys, so me and Jess, we left a day later because we knew the storm was up, and it was like I felt like the entire state of Florida had evacuated for Hurricane Irma. It was a big one. It was huge. So we're on our way down to Orlando, ready for vacation and all this stuff, and we made it through Atlanta in like record time. Like the fastest we'd ever gotten there. There was like no traffic in Atlanta. It was unbelievable. Then we get about 20, 25 miles south of Atlanta, and it was nothing but Florida license plates. Like just solid. And nobody was moving. It was completely blocked off. And it was the craziest thing because, it was everybody trying to get back into Florida because a lot of people were traveling up through Georgia and staying in Georgia just to get out of Florida because that was one of the worst hurricanes I've ever seen on TV or even in it, because once we got down to like past Macon and Valdosta and these areas down in southern Georgia, there were trees just everywhere, billboards down, ripped through. We've gone on a couple trips to Florida after Irma, and we still see like some of the same billboards and stuff that are still destroyed. They've never been replaced. I don't know. Maybe that advertising wasn't really working for them. But let's take a little pause here because it gets better. So we knew we had a problem right away. And it was like, we were pulling off the exit like every hour. To give you a quick roundup of how long it took, 27 hours total to get from home to Florida, to get to Orlando. And that was just to the turnpike. We made it to the Florida Turnpike that next morning. People were falling asleep at the wheel. We had a van that almost hit us from somebody falling asleep. I said, that's enough. And that was about 2 a.m. Now, mind you, we had left at 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning from Cincinnati, right? Then we were a little younger. We were just determined to make it. We didn't stop or anything. And like I said, we made it to Atlanta in like record timing. Normally, it would have been like an extra 6 hours to make it to Orlando from Atlanta. So we were like, awesome. Well, and you never really know like when the traffic's going to break up or stuff like that. But we had another issue. No gas, no hotels. They were all rented out. They were all booked up. Gas, we were like sitting in lines way off the highway. We had actually pulled onto one, and then like this gas station had said that they were like out of gas. We saw police escorts for gas tankers and like Duke Energy and stuff like that. We saw police escorts everywhere. And somehow they were able to make it around because there were people even driving in the emergency lanes just to try and get through. But I'll tell you what, that is one of the worst events of my life. It was really, and I know, 27 hours doesn't really sound like, it was just crazy because we were already just mentally wiped, knowing that we had to wait like an extra like hour or whatever to get gas. And we did finally, get gas. And then even we were getting to the point where, like, every couple miles we were pulling off to fill the tank back up again if we saw where there wasn't a ridiculously huge line for gas, just to make sure that we had enough, But we did end up pulling into a hotel, and neither one of us could sleep. They were sold out. It was like 4 in the morning. The people at the hotel were very nice. It was a Holiday Inn. They let us come in and get some coffee. They gave us some snacks and stuff. They were really nice people. And we kind of dozed off in the car maybe for like 20 minutes. And that was the thing. At that point, we were at like half a tank of gas. And, me being the worrywart that I am, I was like, we need to try and get gas. Get up, line is still so huge and everything, and we did get gas, and we ended up making it with a little less than half a tank in Orlando. Once we hit the turnpike, I knew we were okay. Opened up, no traffic on the turnpike, so that was really nice. But I'll tell you what, that Hurricane Irma was something else. Once we got to Florida, we saw so many people that had lost their homes. And it was so sad. And it was like, part of me kind of felt like this was a time for us to come here, because we were talking to these people, nobody who would talk to them. If I see you crying or something, I'm going to come up to you and say, what's wrong? Can I help? And, everybody that I went up to, they lost their home or something. Like, here we are on vacation, but at the same time, it was like, these people are here who lost their homes. So we made sure that we talked to everybody. Made sure that everybody was okay. Asked if they needed anything. We had plenty of water with us, stuff like that. Nobody actually needed anything, but they needed support. They needed people to talk to. And I think that was, sometimes in life, things are meant to happen. A lot of things are meant to happen the way they happen. But, I think that event, us fighting to get into Florida, with all of that stuff and everything through adversity going on, everything against us. But I feel like we were supposed to get there when we did, because there were a lot of people who had suffered greatly from that hurricane. And I'll tell you, it was a real sad story, but I felt like, we did our part. We made sure that we were there to help people, even if it was just sitting down, talking to them, having a cup of coffee with them. I did get a guy a cup of coffee. I do remember, I got him it was free, but I offered to get him coffee. He was talking to his sister on the phone, and he was crying, making sure that she was safe, and he had his little dog with him and everything, because all the hotels were accepting animals and everything, so that was good. I'd never seen so many dogs in a hotel in my life. I was like, that's pretty nice. I love dogs. But anyway, yes, the letter I hurricanes, I don't know why. I told Jess, I said, they just need to skip. They just need to skip to J. Like, don't even do an I storm, right? Don't do a lettered I storm. Hurricane Irma, Ian, and now Adalia. It's like, oh, geez. But, guys, not going to go on too much longer here. Just wanted to let you all know we have thousands of Floridian fans on our channel here. And I wanted to let you know that we are here for you. You are in our thoughts and prayers. And, just be safe. I know people, you see them on TV and stuff. They're out there. And the Weather Channel, again, it's like, I feel like the Weather Channel, like, they just try to scare everybody. They do. It's like, and I understand at the same time, yeah, you want to make sure people are aware and everything, but boy, they really go into like horrific details of things. And storm surge is nothing to joke around about. I agree with that. But boy, the way they really it sounds like they're using the dark side of the force to really I don't know. I do like Jim Cantori. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I think he's awesome. He's hilarious. He's a guy, he will go out there. I would not be surprised if he was out there swimming with the dolphins under the eye of the storm. That guy has got some guts. Now, some of the other people on the Weather Channel don't. And I'm sure you've seen, let me know down in the comments if you have seen some of these guys. I remember, not Hurricane Ian, but it was one like a couple years ago. And there's this guy, and he's like holding on to like a telephone pole, and he's acting like he's like blowing away. And then you see the couple walking on the beach, no wind or anything. I was like, yeah, okay. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I've ever seen that guy on the Weather Channel again. Jim Cantori has a pretty wide voice, pretty big voice on the Weather Channel. If he doesn't like what you're doing, good chance you're going to get fired. But guys, thank you so much for watching this today. Hopefully, if you get bored and you want to watch some more videos, There's a new thing on YouTube where if you go to the oldest. If you go to our YouTube page here, click on our page and everything, and there'll be like the regular videos, popular, then you click oldest. You can watch some of our oldest videos. Those are some of the first videos I did, and I'll tell you what, you'll get a good laugh because I had no idea what I was doing back when I first started, and, just something to do, something to help pass time by. But a reminder of that, make sure that, because like I said, I'm getting this out as early as I can. So if you don't have any of those like fuel cell things, to recharge your phone or your computer or stuff like that, go out and buy one. It is so worth it. If you have a little bit of extra money, I will say the more you spend, you're going to get a better one. I used to have the little Jackery one, but it really doesn't matter though, because even the Jackery one that was cheap, it was like $15. That lasted me a little over a year, but then it started losing its charge. But this is just to get you by through the hurricane and, maybe another something else or something, in case you use it. I take these things around with me all the time to charge my cameras, my phone, everything. So they're well worth it. Especially, that's the first thing I would think of is if I'm in a hurricane or something, because you want access to be able to see, what's going on. If your TV's out or you don't have an emergency weather radio, that is something good to have. But we don't really need them today if we have our phones and chargers to use them. There's a couple people I can't think off the top of my mind. Jessica watches them on the Weather Channel or on YouTube, and I know these two guys are always talking bad about the Weather Channel and all that, but they're meteorologists too, from what I suppose. Also, there's the Ryan Yall guy. He's funny, and he's a meteorologist from what I understand, and he's got a lot of followers. So somebody else to watch, to make sure to keep an eye, especially if power goes out. You want to know which way the storm is going and all that stuff. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video today. All of our thoughts and prayers are out to all of the Floridians, Georgia and South Carolina as well, because it's looking like it's come that way. I know the governor of South Carolina has issued a storm emergency now. I don't know if it's mandatory evacuations, but, I would check that out. I hear that just happened not that long ago. So if you live in South Carolina, southern Georgia, and the northern part of Tampa, I know that was the thing. These storms tend to change course. I know they were really worried that Tampa was going to get hit head on with that storm surge and all that stuff. That could be really bad for Tampa, but I don't know. It's looking like it's going to be a little bit north of that. Hopefully it is, but hopefully all of you are safe. That storm can make a turn at any point. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Be prepared nonetheless. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.